Adelaide claim the minor premiership, completing the rise from 15th. The man at the helm, Matthew Nicks, joins us.
An ultra-impressive Fremantle book a home elimination final, while the Bulldogs are left to count the cost of another lost opportunity.
And an emergency session of Razor's Edge as the Hawthorn community rages over the vagaries of insufficient intent.
Talked about is to step into it, embrace all of it.
Get in the room and fix it.
It's unedifying for a senior coach to do that.
They're on the side of caution with the brain. Take the man off.
They played the best footy I've ever seen at the start of the season. And if you'd said Brisbane lift the cup, I would have said, of course they do.
It's the stuff that legends are made of.
What is holding the ball? I don't think I could answer it clearly right now.
I could do something wrong, you know, and I need to go. And the board sacks me.
The fans love it, and with no fans, no 360, right?
The final round, Gaz, really does have a dynamic all of its own.
It does. It's a unique period of the football season, Gerard. Anything can happen. We almost had some upsets and it's not finished yet.
Not finished.
By the way.
Still one to go.
Still one to go, indeed. So don't get ahead of yourself and start giving me the finals rundown until the Bombers take on the Gold
easy to
Coast.
skip over because we're salivating over these qualifying
Well, two
finals.
we can lock in.
Yes, so the final series will start in Adelaide on Thursday night. What a blockbuster this is. We're just there with a record crowd and all the acrimony and tension that was involved in that. It gets reprised.
Perfect to start the final series.
And then the next night at the MCG, the best final of last year was the preliminary final between Brisbane and Geelong.
Yep.
And that's not a bad starting point either.
So full house at Adelaide, close to it at the MCG, and then we'll work the other two out after Wednesday.
And we'll be watching live ladders and percentages and margins.
You and I will.
You know we will. This is the way our week lines up. So we've got privileged access to the coaches in the lead up to the final series. Matthew Nicks tonight, the minor premier. So he has the honour. Razor's Edge. Where do you sit on the insufficient intent? Depends how much you want to upset Hawthorn fans. We'll see.
See how brave you are, Gerard.
And then our quartet ready on the couch to dissect all that happens and what it means for what's to come. Tomorrow night, I'm not sure we've ever had a better guest lineup than this. The past three Premiership coaches, Chris Scott, Craig McRae and Chris Fagan. So if you want to go deep on finals footy, tomorrow's the night.
Yeah, and Simon Goodwin's looking at that and going, what about me? He's 2021. He's not getting a look in this year. That's how quickly it changes. That's unbelievable. And all three of those coaches and the coaches tonight, their stories are unbelievable. Yeah. We'll celebrate them.
Wednesday night, game night, so we'll do the pre-match show. We'll come on after AFL tonight. We'll set you up for Gold Coast and Essendon, a historic moment for the Suns to try to qualify for the finals for the first time. And then first crack immediately afterwards, all the analysis, and that's when we'll know the finals matchups. And then Thursday night is special in its own right. These are the AFL awards, so the All-Australian team will be unveiled, as well as the Coaches Association's Player of the Year, the MVP, the Lee Matthews Trophy to be handed out, the best captain, the most courageous and the best first-year player. So award season comes Thursday night.
It's all happening, Gerard. We'll get it. I think it's great that we get all these things done in the week off. If we're going to have, we must have a week off, then these things must be put to bed here. I'd like to have the Brownlow tacked into there, but it's not. And then we get stuck into the final series. And the GVP.
The GVP. So not only is this the most sought-after award in footy, it's the tensest count I've ever seen.
Ever.
The president of Ford is writing this.
Where
How
is he?
many joint leaders have we got?
I've got bad news for him.
The Mustang GT Fastback valued at $93,000. It might go into a lease share arrangement the way this is going. Iconic design, unreal performance, 5-litre V8 engine. It goes like a dream. Who are the votes gone to from round 24?
$93,000 worth of motor vehicle there, Gerard. And right now, our great friend, the president of Ford, who joined us early in the year, might have a heart attack in a minute. Josh Tracy, the beauty of this being my award, I give it to who I like.
Yes.
And Josh Tracy I loved on yesterday at Marvel Stadium. I don't know if many had him as the best player on the ground, but I loved what he did. We played with presence, took 8 big marks, 13 touches, 3 goals. He tackled with a vicious and ferocious intent that you'd want to see from your big boys, Gerard. So I think he's an outstanding player. He had some good running mates with him in that forward half, and now they were a great story out of the last round of the home and away series, and we'll celebrate them. Not many thought they could get up and off the tarmac after last week, and they did. So Josh Tracy led the way. Darcy Wilmot. I don't know if he's going to make the All-Australian team, Gerard. He will soon. This kid is a jet. He is an out-and-out jet since debuting. I think he debuted in the final, didn't he, against Melbourne at the MCG. I don't think he's missed since then. He is an incredibly talented player. He just does stuff. He just goes and does stuff like that. Look at this run and carry, and he belts it inside their forward 50, runs it out. He had 6 score involvements from the halfback flank, smothering. He just... We were interviewing Chris Fagan last week over in Perth. He walked past and stuck his finger in Chris's ear.
Willied him.
He willied him as a second or third year player. And Fags just laughed and said, that's Darcy. And then 3, you can't go past Toby Green. When your game's on the line and your team's in danger of missing a home final, to do what he did at the end, this is everything that's great about footy. And in the meantime, before that, he kicked 4 goals.
Yes.
And had 17 touches. But I heard him on the radio with the boys on SEN this morning, and he said, he's talking about the mark, which I'm sure we're going to see before these highlights are out. He takes a big hanger. He probably make a mistake. He had a shot.
Yep.
So maybe he knew what he was doing, because it allowed him then to perform the heroic deed that... there's the mark here. Now, could he have burnt some time and kicked it backwards? I don't know, but that there is the next play, essentially. So he's run from the pocket, ran with a flight, marked the ball, home final of the Giants all over. He said to the boys this morning, you know what, if it was in the middle of May, I mightn't have gone. But when it's a final on the line and a home final, when it's your turn to go, you go.
And this is what it means. We have 4 joint leaders.
4 cars. Drive them in. It's gone from a nice $93,000 sponsorship, Gerard, to 372. But the powers that be tell me we're pushing on. Not great news for Isaac Heaney.
Isaac Heaney he might bow out, but he will be in the clubhouse on 9. Rao's got a chance.
Hogan's still alive. Sidebottom's still alive. Bailey,
yes.
Green, they're all still alive.
Anything
can happen. This is unbelievable.
All right, those are the GVPs. Let's get to the agenda at the top of it. What a wild round that was. From the teams who are heading on holiday, taking a free swing at those who are readying themselves through finals, to the 2 consequential matches, which took us all the way.
One last time, for shits and giggles, let's do it. No, I didn't think we had any chance. Thanks, I can say that now.
This could be the finish to beat all finishes. The torp is long. O'Leary's under it. King couldn't get near it. The crumb is massive. McAndrew just cut him down, but did he have it? The umpires put the whistle away. Seconds tick. O'Leary gets there. Crazy stuff. We will remember this one for eternity. The one they won for Travis and Kenny.
One more time.
I'm a coach who's the proudest coach the world has ever seen tonight.
I miss you.
You're playing for a finals campaign. If you need me to sit there and give you a motivational speech to want to play your first finals campaign in our organisation's history, then you're playing the wrong game. Our players have got to pick themselves up. They've got to lead from the front. They're going to take charge. I'm going to hand it over to them. And we're going to see what this group's made of.
Collingwood has done nothing less than salvaged its premiership mission.
We've got a pulse now. We're alive. If you finish top 4, you win 1, you're in a prelim. You win 2, you're in a grand final. That's how close we are right now.
In a heavyweight clash, Brisbane celebrate because they know they're top 4. They'll finish 3rd. And the Hawks are consigned to the bottom reaches of the 8.
To be honest with you, I think if I was to rate this home and away season, it's probably been our best ever.
Disappointed, but excited, and I'm sure every Hawks fan right now is thinking, oh, that would have been a good one to get, but get to play 4 finals instead of 3 now.
Felt like it was that sort of performance coming all week from the attitude of the players.
This has been special for the Dockers. This is the best version of the Dockers. Charge and charge and charge again. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Finally, the Dockers are going back to the finals.
Questioned all week about pressure, about history, about heat when it matters. How's that for an answer?
Our best footy has been against the best side, so we should be full of belief and understand that we can beat anyone.
pain for the Bulldogs will be felt well after the echoes of the final siren fade.
Everyone's, as flat as a shit Carters, there's no doubt about that.
It's a mighty, mighty performance from the Fremantle Dockers. How good is that, Gerard? Well done to everyone upstairs. That is just an extraordinary package, and this is the end of a home and away series that every single game has been covered right. I'm just giving Fox Footy a pump up here. This is your home of footy right here. Every single game has been covered from around the country at the highest level, and now we're about to launch into finals for the first time. So stand by. You're going to enjoy the next month or so. Here's your beloved Snakes.
Yes, so the emotions were raw, and this is why Fremantle took the leap and the Dogs sit and await their fate. It's the cruelest purgatory that the game has really ever seen. So home finals for the Giants and Fremantle, and just the order of 7th, 8th and 9th to be determined. It was a landmark day for Fremantle, wasn't it?
100% it was. They did an outstanding job at Marvel Stadium when not many people thought they could. I understand that they had their backs to the wall. They thought that the world had turned on them. They were inspired by the fact that no one gave them a chance. And I thought the coach led the way. Yep. His press conference was outstanding. I thought he stood up and he spoke beautifully in the post-game. And if that's a sign of things to come, then they're a chance. And the thing is, they were 16 points down at quarter time. Let's not forget this. And they absorbed an enormous amount of territory to the Western Bulldogs. And the Western Bulldogs fell into the trap that Fremantle did the week previously. They just banged it in. They thought, we've got the tall timber, we'll just bang it in. They banged it in and kept going in. And the Dockers stood up, and from that point on, they got moving. And it was as good a Fremantle Docker performance as I've seen for a long time. As disappointing as they were the week before, they suggested it wasn't that bad. That's okay. You got to sell the positive. But to come out and play like they did, they got to work in the middle. Their centre bounce stuff was great. So they won centre bounce against the best centre bounce clearance team in the comp by 5. That was really important, because that means that the defence of the Western Bulldogs was under pressure right from the word go. And you had Pearce play on Darcy. Darcy doesn't score at all, and Norton's kept in check by Cox. So all those things conspired to give them a good look in the front half.
So I like the Justin Longmuir persona, and I like that he doesn't like the narratives that have been built up around Fremantle, so he spent a little bit of time cracking those down. But this is the theatre that the club, not just his team, but the club has failed at repeatedly, and that was part of the burden that you carry until you conquer it, and they conquered it. And even though they have won a final under Longmuir, this was the peak moment, and it does set them up for what comes next. What was imprinted on all of us, I think, was what you showed us last week around their forward setup and how they go about it. And they found splendid isolation.
Yeah, I love this. You know how much I love, seeing what happens forward of the ball. So just remind us last week to the frustration of having these targets to shoot at and not taking advantage. And this was what we showed you last week. This was a hot Josh Tracy that had just kicked 2 goals against Brisbane, and we thought, righto, let him loose. And yet they didn't work together at all. They didn't work for one another, and they made him easy to defend. So the ball comes in, they all start jumping on each other's head, and they lose any initiative that they had. Fast forward to yesterday, look at Amos just peel off here. He says, no, let's isolate Tracy on lob. And Rory Lobb had a shocker. Rory Lobb doesn't want to defend like this. And this is a nice separation again. Doesn't matter who it is, but the space for Lobb trying to defend back shoulder here as opposed to him seeing the ball and intercept marking, which he's done so well. And then this brings a tear to my eye, this sort of stuff. I mean, I know it's stupid, but this is not getting in each other's way. And Tracy again gets the one out. And at the end of the day, you saw Voss hitting up and Amos hitting up, and it's 3 goals Voss, 3 goals Amos, 3 goals Tracy, bang, away they go, big win.
It was unmissable. Yeah. It was unmissable.
So that's hard to, there's some big forwards that are going to run around in September, but they've got 3 really good ones that are going to be hard to defend.
Caleb Sarong will be there. There was that curious moment of, he argued with the umpire at the time, he got to the ball first, and it ends up being high contact on Croft, the free kick's paid. And he went to ask his coach in the aftermath, do I have anything to worry about? And it hadn't even occurred to Justin Longmuir that it was something. It's not, as it's all been cleared by the MRO.
Yeah, that's how far we've come as a code, so that's a good thing in a way, but there's no issue there. He's first at the footy. So Caleb Sarong got hands to the ball ahead of Croft, who was super impressive from a Western Bulldogs point of view.
For the Western Bulldogs, so there was a truth contained in this, wasn't there? It was the truth that we wanted to overlook, or those who were holding a candle for the Bulldogs had wanted to overlook the whole way through. They hadn't stacked up against the top 9 teams. The only one they'd beaten throughout the course of the season were the Giants, who, funnily enough, if Gold Coast took the gas, they'd be playing the Giants in an elimination final. They'd probably win. So just sit that to the side. The truth of just not being good enough is there are parts of their game that seduce you, and there are critical flaws in the games that they just don't have covered.
Yeah.
Are you glass half full or empty on them? Is this a wasted campaign, or is this the precursor of what's to come?
Well, I can't be anything other than glass half full, which might surprise many, but they've got 2/3 of the puzzle all sorted out. Their midfield is elite. Their forward, the number one scoring team in the comp, we know. So this is as obvious and plain for me as any of the teams in the off-season is go to work and do what Melbourne did when they got to a position where they were going to contend, and May and Lever came from other clubs. And this has happened throughout. Collingwood went and got Billy Frampton, not a big name, played a pivotal role when they won a premiership, supported Jeremy Howe and the others. Hawthorn went out and got Barrass and Battle. You got Adelaide went out and got Mark Keane. So that is what lies ahead, because whilst they didn't win, and they can't run away from that, and they can't hide against those top 9 sides, the average losing margin was 14 points, Gerard. I think they can pull back 14 points against the best teams in the competition if they get this part of the game, because the rest of the game is in really good order. Don't fall into the trap of thinking this is the best list in the competition. That is a nonsense. They got 2/3 of a best list, but their back half is not anywhere near it. So that's the job. Go to work. Use what you got at your disposal. See who's dispensable. See who you can try and jag it. Like, not that Callum Wilkie wants to go anywhere, but that's the sort of bloke that you go after to say, hey, let's put this deal in front of you, because everything else is in good order, I think.
They're a hugely attractive proposition to go to as a key defender. So I don't know whether it ends up being Jack Silvani or whether that's the player that they need.
They need him and more.
Yes. So because the generational forwards that Darcy is, Croft shows great signs, Norton, they are on the clock in the Bontempelli years. This is the bit that disturbs me a little bit.
Yeah.
So since their previous grand final appearance, they've missed the finals twice. They've gone out in the elimination finals twice. I think that's the bitter edge to yesterday. This was the year. I know their age profile doesn't have them ending anytime soon, but it was time to challenge for the top 4. They've ended up missing the 8 in all likelihood.
No.
So that part of it's a fail. But you do watch aspects of the game and go, why can't they get this to work? And personnel's part of it. I suspect there's a systematic adjustment that has to be made in the all-team defence as well.
Yeah, so personnel is, as I said, it's 14-point average losing margin against these best sides. So it is personnel, but it also is for Luke to go to work now and have a look at his own system and the own way he wants to play with his defensive coaches and say, where do I need to make some change? I don't so much worry about worry. So he's got a premiership Marcus Bontempelli, and he knows where he's at. He's a big boy. They're still very much in contention. And I don't excuse him. I don't barrack for the Western Bulldogs, and I heard some of the stuff today, the Western Bulldogs supporters are heartbroken. I get it. But hang in. Maybe Croft is one of the answers going back. Maybe Croft goes back and becomes Jeremy Howe, Mark II. That's what's got to be explored in the summer months for the Western Bulldogs, and go and explore hard.
The Brisbane Lions, so they're Burnborough. They're carrying 67 kilos and the handicapper didn't get them. They still qualified for the double chance. We put that chart up before, 9-4 against the teams that matter. So more games than anybody else was subjected to, more wins than anyone else registered. They are the defending champs for a reason. Their best remains the best.
Yeah, I was walking around today and I was trying to think, if you were still playing, who would you want to play with? I reckon you'd love playing in this side. They're just so honest, and I know they've had their up and down moments this year on the back of a premiership, but with everything that's worked against them, with the draw that they've had to contend with, they've still finished where they've finished. And effectively they played against Hawthorn, who were playing for their life, and they replaced Danaher and Hipwood with Day and Gallup. Yeah. So just have a think about that for a minute. Your two tools, your contenders, your Joe Danaher, your big name player, and then Hipwood, who, where Eric is, he's a role player. They're not there. So Day and Gallup come in, and then Marshall comes in, and a whole host of others. I think what Chris Fagan's done is extraordinary. And the stories of, and we'll get to Geelong in a moment, and we'll get to Matthew Nicks. But this is, I think, one of the great performances. And I loved it when Chris said at his press conference that this is our best home and away season ever. And I would have to agree, given the challenges that have confronted them. No Lachie Neale there on the weekend as well. I'd love to play footy with these blokes.
They've got a critical mass of young players. I remember early last year when things looked to have turned sour and the open question was, where's their young talent coming from? Their young talent is frighteningly before us. So they've got that blend of, they've got their veterans, they've got their champions, but they've got a core of young players who are going to keep them in and around contention for years to come.
5 in the AFL pick an under-22 team, which is an All-Australian under-22. They got 5 in there. The reigning premiers have got 5 and they've got more kids to come in this draft via the academy. So, I'll bring this game on. They've been superb. They've been absolutely magnificent. And we've talked about the previous 2 premiers haven't been able to get there at all. Well, they've got there, and they've got there with a double chance.
Geelong, so what is it, 11 out of 15 top 4 qualifications under Chris Scott, and 7 of those are top 2, which is where they've gone through again. So the capacity to sustain excellence is like we've never seen before.
Yeah, no, you've got to stop and think about that too. If you barrack for a side that can't get there, or you barrack for a side that fleetingly sticks its head into September and then disappears because it's a bit hard, then you go and look at these numbers. So everything we say about the Brisbane Lions, Chris Scott's been doing it for longer, and Chris Scott and his team have been doing it for longer. So I'm not sure what, the superlatives are all sit really comfortably on them, and they've done it in a pretty disarming way because they haven't played anyone really, and that's not being disrespectful, for the past 6 or 7 weeks. They just front up, their system stands up, and they go methodically about dismantling whoever they're playing. So they would be looking forward to playing against Brisbane as much as any. And MCG, so Brisbane, I remember talking to Fags down at GMHBA. They were one of the few that did knock them off in recent times. And he went in with that, no negativity about, I'm saying, how are you going to handle these blokes? And he's going, hey, how are they going to handle us? And as it turned out, they mugged them. They jumped them in the first quarter and they gave them a nice old belting. So, the Cats are there again, no surprise. And I can't wait to go and watch it.
That's why it's a brilliant dynamic, because this Geelong side is definitely better than last year's Geelong side that had a decent lead in the preliminary final and poked their nose in front late. But Brisbane have the wood on them now. For a long time, Geelong lauded over Brisbane. Those tables are totally flipped. And in fact, the Fagan method was getting further away from Geelong when last we saw them. So you've got every aspect to it. You've got what will happen on the field. You've got the 2 coaches matching wits and experience and all that they've seen. So
niggle there over the journey.
I hope so.
Shannon Neale coming back for the Cats.
Yeah. So it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
And then we've got a bloke that's got his team to the top of the table.
Yeah, so this is the builds that Adelaide has been on. Matthew Nicks coached them when they are at the bottom. He's leading them now that they are at the top. It's a single season rise from 15th to 1st, and now back to the finals for the first time since 2017. The coach of the minor premier, Matthew Nicks, next.
Smooth Moves, brought to you by Jamison Whiskey.
The defining acts, the defining moments in a stellar season for the Adelaide Crows. They have known big stages, they have conquered big stages, and the biggest now lie ahead. It's a beautiful fusion of superstar and supporting cast, and now ready for the challenges at hand. They are our minor premiers, rising from 15th last season and perfectly drawn into a qualifying final with Collingwood. Our coaches over the next couple of weeks for Swish Surprise Dad with a personalised video this Father's Day. So our privileged coaching access starts with the coach of the minor premier, Matthew Nicks. Congratulations. Great to have you back on 360.
It's great to be on, guys, especially this close to September.
It's a huge achievement. In our code, we probably play it down a little bit. Did you make something of it at the end of the home and away journey?
Oh, we did, yeah. We took a little bit of time to acknowledge, the achievement, but also then the reality of we're at the starting line now. So, all that work, we wanted to acknowledge the way we'd been able to focus from week to week and get ourselves now into a position. And I think we acknowledge it's not easy to position yourself where we have. So, let's enjoy that, but also understand now the work's ahead of us.
And for you, Matty, did you give yourself a little moment of reflection as you come in as the rebuild coach? No, definitely not.
You'd like to think that this break, it's interesting because when we speak, you'll probably have me quoted as earlier saying I don't like the week off before the finals. But now that we've arrived here, and even with the record coming in, we've been able to win, a number of games in a row, and momentum's with us. But I think we'll benefit. I think we actually look forward to this week to re-energise ourselves. But we don't get long, playing on the Thursday night. We get a week and a half, so it's going to be perfect. It's exactly what our group are after, just that chance to freshen ourselves up. And as a coach, it's the same. I think our coaching group have worked really hard right across the season, and we'll enjoy 2 or 3 days just to refresh, re-energise, make sure that we come with all the energy we can for Thursday night against Collingwood.
I'm sure you will. Hey, well done. Finishing on top of the ladder's an unbelievable performance. Just looking, you go 63-point winner, 61-point winner, 36-point winner, so you're 3 games in. I don't know whether you thought you were going to finish on top at the start of the year. You probably won't tell us anyway. But at what stage during the year did you think, right, this group is where I want them to be? This group is a contender. Was there a moment?
It might sound wrong, but there's a lot of talk at the moment, and I'm going to answer the question, I promise, Gary, but there's a lot of talk at the moment about us coming from 15th to 1st, at the end of the home and away season. We didn't feel like we were that far away last year, and we finished 15th, and I think it's a sign of where the league's at. The competition is so close. So, it's been a long time that we've felt great about where our footy club's heading. We've been a good side, but not a great side. We still got a long way to go, but by no means did we think we'd finish top of the ladder this year. But our goal was definitely to play finals football and improve on last year. And so being able to lock in, week by week, focus on the opposition and the task at hand or the moment that we're in has benefited us. And we've found ourselves, coming to these last 2 or 3 weeks where it was a reality, and we were looking at playing a couple of teams that were down towards the bottom of the ladder, as well as Collingwood in amongst that last 3 weeks. So it was a perfect lead into now a final series. We come off a reasonably emotional game against Collingwood, which is no doubt had a finals feel about it, where we had a record crowd at AO. And then 2 other games where we didn't necessarily waste emotional energy. Physically, we had to work really hard to get the job done, and we won a different way, but we didn't spend a lot of time celebrating and wasting energy around making a finals campaign, because we'd already done that.
So when I look at it, you need improvement across the board, from within and also from without or outside, and bringing them in. And you did that really well. You identified the sort of players that you would think could help, and they've been a great success. Then I look at Rankine and Worrell in the back half, and you go, well, they are so much better than, I or probably most of the footy world thought. We knew the front half was really good. And then through the middle, then my question for you is, have you got the midfield class to take you through this September? We know that Dawson is very much there. Rankine is, but won't be there. Have you got enough class through there to get you through?
Yeah, we believe we do. The challenge is you come up against the best of the best in finals. And it's often why most teams make it that far, is because the midfield is the engine room. It's the difference between the ball going, down towards your end and or going the other way. So, we know our midfield have done a fantastic job this year, and maybe statistically it doesn't look like some of the other sides, and we understand Gold Coast's midfield, and even North Melbourne on the weekend, they've shown this year their stoppage stuff's been really strong. So, we're not going to panic about the way the weekend went. We know it wasn't our best, but we strongly believe we've got a group in there, and they're young. That'll be our challenge. That's the question mark will be about, that lack of experience in finals. But we've had plenty of games this year, where you could argue there's been a finals atmosphere. We're not going to know until we get into Thursday night against Collingwood, but I'm not sure it's possible to actually get more people into the stadium for this game coming up, because I think we might have actually gone over capacity last time. So, and I'd say there's probably going to be a fair bit of emotion around this Thursday night as well. So we'll see how that plays out.
No, we can't wait. What will give you great confidence, whether you've got experience in finals or not, are these defensive numbers that we'll put up and have a look at. because they are the non-negotiables in terms of whether you can win a premiership or not. You can get through a little bit if you're a little bit off from an offensive point of view, but they're a beautiful set of numbers that we're showing. I'm sure you can see them. That wasn't the case in the first 4 or 5 weeks. You made a bit of an adjustment, and that's to your eternal credit. You've got to have a self-awareness. You've got to understand where you sit as a footy club. You fixed it, and now you go into September with the best defensive profile you can possibly have.
Yeah, and we're really proud of those numbers, and they're something that we do keep an eye on. And as you mentioned, a credit to our coaching group, the way we, one, acknowledged, I guess, found those particular areas we needed to work on, and then the way we were able to get that basically across to our group, and our players showed the maturity that we knew we needed some more defensive stability in the way we played our footy. And the first 5 weeks, although we played some great footy in amongst it, we knew that wasn't going to hold up and get us to the position we're in at the moment. So, our players did a fantastic job. Our coaching group did a fantastic job in that space. And there's one number there. We didn't quite get what we wanted in that space. We wanted to finish number one, and we actually come up against, the number one defensive team this year in Collingwood on Thursday night. They ended up just pipping us in that as far as total scores against, but we know we bring a really strong game when it comes to our transition and the way we defend. And so Thursday night, we'll see how we go, but it might be a war of attrition. Let's see how it ends up.
Josh Worrell, so contracted now to the end of 2033. So it's a great vote of confidence from the club. It's a terrific reward for what he's been able to do. How have you seen his evolution and that long-term commitment? Yeah,
he's a unique one, Josh. We had a good laugh and a bit of a celebration after the game, actually, on the weekend. Josh has provided us with one of the greatest templates for development of an individual as a player. He was unique when we drafted him. We drafted him from a wing. He's shown he can play ahead of the ball. We ended up, finding a spot for him behind the ball. And after his first game, I can share a story, and I'm sure he won't mind me sharing it. After his first hit out, it was a game in Cairns. He came off apparently to the bench after his first stint and sat next to one of his teammates, and I can't repeat the words, but he turned to him and he said, "Oh my God, this game's fast." And from that day on, he went to work. So he went away in that break, the off season, found a way how to be a professional, learnt from a lot of the guys at our club like Ben Keys and Riley O'Brien and the like. Just went to work. And, we knew there was something there. He's unique in the way he plays. He's quite tall, very agile, but a super competitor, hates being beaten. He and I had many a battle in our first 12 months about, how he was going to become an elite footballer. And he's gone on to, to prove himself right. He knew he was going to get there, and it's off the back of him being such a competitor, so it's a credit to him.
And Tex Walker reaches 300 on what a big stage that is. What's that testament to, Matty? Because 4 years ago, you could never have imagined, or we could never have imagined he'd see 300.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. When I arrived at 2020, there was a little bit of talk around about, Taylor, and, maybe it was close, that time might be coming. And to his credit, he bought into what it was we were looking to do. And, it was going to take us some time, as it has done, 5 or 6 years now later. Probably one of the biggest things that I asked of Tex was that he just helped us work with the younger guys and help improve them and develop them at the fastest rate we possibly could. Those guys playing around him, he's got an incredible knowledge of the game, on-field leadership, the way he talks to his teammates and positions them and motivates them. And this is only my feeling, and we really haven't sat down over a beer yet and had a conversation around it, but I feel like the time he was able to put into his teammates took that a little bit of pressure off himself to perform. And we saw in the first year, 2 or 3 years, we saw him play some of his best football that he's played across his career. And that's saying something, because he's played for a long time and he's been an outstanding footballer. He'll become, one of the legends of our football club, and the league. So, really proud to have been able to work with him for this latter part of his career and watch him not only make others better, but I'd say he's played some of his best footy himself.
What an occasion to have your 300th game against Collingwood in a qualifying final. So What are we going to get, Nixie? We drove away from that game, Jason and I, and we're sitting there talking and say, imagine if they play each other in a couple of weeks' time. Will we get the same sort of game? And I'm sure you don't want to give up 71 inside 50s again. I think that's a given. But what can we expect? Are we going to see this, one behind the ball and, as you said, a war of attrition, or are you going to throw something else at it?
Yeah, it's ironic, isn't it, guys? We happen to be playing each other again. Who'd have thought, eh?
Yeah.
Who'd have thought after what played out? Look, who knows what sort of game it'll be. I've got no doubt they'll have some things in place. They've been very consistent with the way they play, and the reason for that is they've been so successful over such a long period of time. They back themselves in. Craig's always spoken that way, and I've admired the way he coached from afar. Look, if people know what we're doing, good luck to them. We'll just do it better than what they do. So they may have some tricks up their sleeve, but we'll come in. We learned a fair bit from the last game we played, and it was so recent that our guys will have that in the back of their mouth. The way we started that game, we were really disappointing early. I think it was 24 inside 50s in the first quarter again. So we know we've got a bit of work to do to get the game away from what was a front of centre game for Collingwood. But to get across the line, we feel really confident. We now know how to win, and we'll go into this one with a lot of confidence as well.
Do you think there'll be some residual, some angst from all that happened within the game and the aftermath, which lasted the next week?
Oh, no, I think the teams will go in and we'll all just play our hearts out. I can't talk about what you'll get from the other side of the fence, though. I think there's, when people don't necessarily have all the information, they aren't given all that information, the detail around it. There's often a lot of different emotion that comes with that, and I got a feeling Thursday night will be quite an emotional night for a lot of people, at least 50-odd thousand. Although it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of Collingwood fans are getting online and trying to get tickets, because they do come with quite an army. So it'll be interesting how many people do get over to SA.
Did you have a say in the decision for Isaac Rankine to head to Italy during this time, Matty? Yeah, we did. We spoke through it at length. About what we felt was best for Isaac's preparation, be it the limited opportunity he's going to have to play again this year. There's a small chance there, so we wanted to do whatever we felt would put him in the best position. And keep in mind, this is a guy that hadn't left his house for 5 or 6 days over the last week, and had media parked outside the front of his house, constantly watching him and so on. And Isaac understands that what he did was wrong, and it was a mistake, and he's regretful for that. But we wanted to make sure that if that small chance arrived, we set him up for success. And so he's going to a really high level training facility overseas, because it allowed him to just get the work done he needed. Within the country here, we know people are going to find him, and we just wanted him to focus on that. And he'll be back before the guys play Thursday night, because he wants to be there with the team and make sure he gets around them and does whatever he can to try and help us get across the line Thursday night. Did you personally spend any time with him before he did go?
Yeah, I spent a fair bit of time with him across the week, prior to, in the end, the decision that was made. And I think one thing you learn in moments like this is they're really tough moments, and there's no doubting that a mistake was made, but you've got to get around your people, and you've got to make sure your people are okay. And it wasn't just Isaac that I was with during the week. It was a lot of other people that I felt maybe needed me to be there, or needed for the leaders of our club to be around. And I think as a footy club, we did it as well as we possibly could in trying circumstances.
Good luck. The big countdown is on, so we'll see you Thursday week. Good luck with the preparations, and well done on what's been achieved so far.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks very much.
Good on you. Matthew Nix, the Adelaide coach. What a start to the final series that is going to be. Emergency session of Razor's Edge.
Emergency?
Yeah.
It's been called in early.
From start to finish, the round had so much to offer. Ray Chamberlain next.
You need to calm down. We don't talk to one another like
Ray Chamberlain, see you next Tuesday.
It's the opinion of the entire staff that Dexter is criminally insane.
Have a look at the free down here.
Here's the free kick, so in class. Nah, jeez, they've just got to be better than that, the umpires.
Damien Hardwick cannot believe that was a free.
That boy needs therapy.
The discrepancy was 33-16. You feel that that's a fair indication of the content?
Oh, I thought the umpires got caught up in the emotion of the game. Can happen.
McAndrew! Jones got him down, but did he have it? The umpires put the whistle away.
Well, asking the wrong bloke the wrong question. Maybe ask the umpiring department.
Oh, we've got a better guy than that, so we brought him right in. Ray Chamberlain, welcome.
Good evening, gents. On a Monday.
Monday.
It's big time.
There must be trouble.
I haven't seen all these decisions. I'm happy to sit down.
Do. So the noise of affirmation was first introduced by Alan Richardson at this desk many years ago. It has caught on in the language. Are you a believer in the noise of affirmation?
I think environment certainly plays a factor. And, you know, if I reflect on 20 years, you go to certain grounds and it's not so much the ones you're going to pay, like where they go, oh, you're back, and they all go nuts, because that just helps almost affirm what you're doing, as Alan intimated. It's the one where you half don't quite... Did he get him high? And it's just stone cold quiet. You go, play on. That, I think that's where...
The reverse noise of effort.
Yeah.
So it's silence of affirmation.
Yeah. So you sort of go, I'm not sure, whereas the other ones where they go nuts and you half see it, you might be likely to get tipped in. So I can see how that extrinsic environmental factors can play a role.
All right. I think Damien Hardwick had good cause to be aggrieved. So we thought we'd study the last quarter together.
Yes. So spent a bit of time this afternoon, Gerard, running through the last quarter, and obviously tight game and a whole lot came out of it. And I know there was some discussion around holding the ball discrepancy, and I haven't seen the first three quarters. So I've seen the last quarter. There were 17 free kicks paid, just as a whatever that means. 10 were paid to Port Adelaide, 7 were paid to the Gold Coast Suns, and by my assessment, I think there are probably 3 free kicks that were missed for the Gold Coast. We're going to see 2 of them. And I think there were 2 free kicks that were paid to Port Adelaide that if the umpires had their time again, they'd stay out of it. So statistically, it was a fairly even distribution of free kick in the last quarter. I think what is more relevant is the accuracy of the decision-making.
All right, let's get to Ben Long as a starting point. Was he stiffed a couple of times?
Yeah, so in this marking contest here, if Aliir makes contact to the back of his head, the ball's gone, as you can tell. If he smacks him in the back of the head there and makes contact, the free kick is required. Whereas in this instance here, all players are doing nothing but going for the football. Hands are right where the ball is, so any contact that occurs there with Long is what we'd refer to as incidental contact, and play on is the right call there. So I think a high contact free kick warranted in the first instance and an excellent play on call in the second.
McAndrew and Mitch Georgiades pushing them back.
Yeah, this one here is a low light for the night, and I'm certain that the umpires will unpack this. And I listened to the communication from the umpire, and the commentary or the communication was prohibited contact. So he hasn't paid a hold or a push in the back. Now, prohibited contact, Gerard, in a situation like this off the ball, you'd tend to see a striking action or something of that ilk into the back of an opponent, and that hasn't happened there. So I can only assume the umpire potentially has lost a bit of concentration, just seen the end of it, and has made a mistake. That can't be paid in AFL football, can't be paid anywhere.
Just a shocking decision.
That's a bad decision.
Yep. Zach Butters, high contact.
Yeah, so, and can I just say here, so this is a free kick that should have been paid for high contact, but I do want to say, first up, Zach Butters tries to pull up, and I think the umpire sort of read a bit into that. His communication was he was stationary. Now, clearly he's not, he's on the move. These are very challenging, and the reason why I say they're very challenging, Gary, is because I butchered one yesterday at Arden Street myself. So
you're only human, Razor.
Yeah. Human. So, yeah, that should have been a free kick there to the Gold Coast Suns for high contact.
All right, Aliir and King in the marking contest.
This actually is a great contest. So they come in and there is... Aliir has great body work. It's in the side. It's not in the back. He gets under the flight of the ball. His sole objective is the ball. His hands make contact with the ball, and that's play on. So that's not in the back. It's in the side. He's held the space. He's protected the space, which he's entitled to do, and that's well played from Aliir. That should not be awarded a free kick.
And the very last contest of the game.
Was that in the final seconds of the game, that last one?
Getting toward the end.
So this one here, Aliir, he takes possession of the football. It's immediately tackled fairly, and they come to ground, the ball gets disposed of as a result of the jarring tackle. It's not a lingering dump scenario. You slow it down, it doesn't look as good. But in real time, bang, one action, go to ground, play on's the right call, and that's well umpired in that circumstance.
No, I'm happy with that. I would like to argue with Ray, as you know, but I can't. He knocks the footy out here.
Yeah. That's exactly right. So that's, you're allowed to tackle firmly, and then in an instance like this, Gerard, the tackler's afforded an opportunity to release the tackle. They can't do it immediately. So that's play on.
All right, you've been waiting for insufficient intent. We had consecutive...
Forgetting myself.
All right, so Harris Andrews followed by Carl Amon.
Yeah. So overarching thing here for the umpires, and I don't like this rule, Gerard. You and I are in agreement here. The umpires are being asked to say to the player, where does the ball go? Does it go towards the middle of the ground or closer to the line? It goes in a direction towards the line. It's forceful and it crosses the line, and you'd expect the free kick to be paid there. And in this instance here, again, it goes, once he disposes of the ball, he gets nowhere near his teammate. He actually handballs it to the umpire, and unless it's a skill error, so that's the decision you need to ask yourself here. Like, is it a kick off the side of the boot or not? And I don't think Carl Amon has handballed that off the side of his hand at all. And he's got the question that is posed to the player by the law: have you shown sufficient intent to keep the ball in? And that's what the umpires are being asked to do on field.
See, I think I'm with Ray on this, which is going to surprise everyone. And Hawthorn supporters are going to hate... Well, they don't. Well, it's already done. In that instance, Carl Amon has to take the most care of all, because the ramifications of getting it wrong are, where they are on the ground. He doesn't take any. He at worst, it's insufficient care in the handball.
Yeah.
He laid back. If we can show it again, he laid back, and when the shot from behind... You don't miss that. I mean, you can miss a handball. Everyone misses handballs. But I don't know if we're going to get it up. This one's bad enough. He's on the back pedal. That's very lazy. And then when you see it from behind, when you see how far he misses this handball by, the only question is, why would he handball it out of bounds? That's the other reason. There's no real reason for him to want this to be a boundary throw-in when he's got teammates there.
And I look at that angle and I would say to you, well, that's because he's got defenders sweating on his teammates and he probably doesn't have a clean exit, so he's gone, I'll take this on.
But they're so good with their hands. There's 2v1 there. There's no real reason. That's the only out I'm having. But
the intended target knew he was in trouble because he started pleading with the umpire before the umpire made the decision.
I'm in the out.
For the umpire, the first one with Harris Andrews...
I think he got bumped as he hit it.
If that had been a kick, I don't think we'd even be talking about it. And the differentiation between a kick or a handball is not relevant. So I think we needed to see a free kick there. It only just crosses the line too, Gerard, and he has a teammate there and thereabouts. So I understand how they've got that one and they haven't tipped in. The AFL would ask them to pay both.
Pay both. All right, Ray, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Monday operator.
Yes.
Very sharp work.
Upset people more or suit them on a Monday night? Probably the former. Tomorrow night, 3 Premiership coaches.
You better be on your game tomorrow, Gerard.
Chris Fagan, Craig McRae and Chris Scott. You couldn't get a better taster for what's coming in September with those 3 coaches tomorrow. This has been one of the messier endings between club and captain, events that they'd probably all like again. If Oscar Allen did the wrong thing meeting Sam Mitchell, the club did the wrong thing parading him for apology. There was never any intention of the club to recontract its captain, and so now what I do know is Oscar Allen will be happier in Brisbane than he has been in West Coast.
Yep, I suspect that the angst and the heartache's been over for a long time there, and they just got to sign the divorce papers and go their separate ways, Gerard. And that was a mess. Captains shouldn't meet with other coaches. I maintain that. Instead, at the time, maintain it. There's a certain honour and dignity that comes with being the captain of your club. And sitting down with an opposition coach at about round whatever it was is not the way to go. Anyway, good luck to him.
Then don't humiliate your captain on the way through.
That's the next part. I agree with that.
I think they are all at fault here. And go, be happy, see if you can get your body right and play some good footy.
Indeed.
Willie Rioli's retired as well.
He has, from Port Adelaide. So well done to Willie on a good career.
All right, let's head on the couch.